The first lie that I want to talk about today is that when you show love, when you continue to love, you are the one that loses, or you are the weak one. There was a time when political leaders and leaders of organizations wanted to prove that they can love, they can try their best to fight for the weak person, to um, run away from violence and try not to push other people down. But lately, in the last couple of years, I've begun to see that men who are strong, women who are strong, nations who are strong, do not care about the weak any longer. And they're trying to say that the stronger should continue to push and be stronger, and the weaker should figure out how to please the stronger so that they can survive. It is the opposite of what God calls us to do. But it's what's happening because that's the nature of people without the love of God. And I want to say it loud and clear today that if you continue to sow into self-centered, selfish growth, self-protection, temporarily you will think that you are the one leading, you are ruling, you're in power, you're strong. But in the long run, it's a seed. You are sowing a seed of destruction. And the world doesn't need this to be destroyed. What the world needs is love. And so even in your own life, if you choose to begin to protect yourself and care for yourself and your family alone at the expense of others, what you would reap is fear. Because when you try to protect yourself, you're doing it from fear. And so you are sowing fear. And what you're going to reap is more fear in the future. But when we sow love, the real love of God, and that's why I think the politicians are struggling, because when you try to pretend that you are caring for others, it's not real and it's not going to last. However, I still prefer a world where people are trying to do the right thing than a world where they give up and start to do what feels good alone. And so that's why I want to speak to you, because this same spirit, this same ideology is seeping into the church and it's corrupting the church. People are just fighting for themselves and they think only of themselves at the expense of others. We cannot continue the gospel of the kingdom when we are thinking only of ourselves. Now, that is not to say that those people who tell me, why am I the only one fighting for this marriage? Why am I the only one organizing the date nights? Why am I the only one trying to initiate reconciliation with my parents, with my siblings, that they are wrong or that they are weak? What I'm trying to say is that question is a good question because you're tired, and I'm here to stand with you to encourage you that even if you're the only one, recognize that you are sowing something that not only you will reap, but your generations and generations after you will reap. So here's the first thing I want to say to you about love. Love is like a seed. That's the first thing I want you to take note of. You need to keep sowing it for as long as it takes so that you can bear the fruit of it. And it's not weak. It's not weak. It just looks weak because it's like a seed. Seeds, if I give you the seed of an apple right now, it looks very little and not useful. Yes, that's how love operates too. It looks small at the beginning, but it grows. It grows. So take note of that. So when a person comes to me and says, look, I'm the only one doing all of these things. Yes, you're the only one doing this. Maybe all you need now is to get support so that you keep doing it. For example, if I come to you and I say to you, everybody needs to learn how to swim because we notice that water is going to come eventually and flood the place. And so everybody should know how to swim. You're not just going to go into the pool and start pretending to swim. You're going to make sure that you know how to swim. How would you do that? You most likely will get a tutor to teach you, or a friend to show you, or you get a course online. You will not just assume that you can swim, or you will not just assume that if you can just jump in a pond or pool of water that's up to your waist that you are good. Why then do people just assume that they are loving well just because they say they love or they feel like I care about someone? And this is where the problem is. there's a knowing about love and knowing to love that a lot of people have never tasted, never experienced, and are far from understanding. And if you don't know what love really looks like, you will only think that you know how to love, and when the trouble comes, you will not survive it. Go back to the example I just gave you of a person who learns that flood is coming and everyone must learn how to swim. They have the time to learn how to swim, but they don't really get someone to show them how to, and then they give up. When the water comes, they're going to drown. This is exactly what I'm seeing in the world today. And that's what I see in marriages every day. People get into marriage or get into relationships, even just family sibling relationships. I see it there. When you grow up in a home where there's a lot of stress, a lot of strain, a lot of pain, you don't learn love. What you learn is fear and strain. And so when you now try to do it on your own, you're going to struggle. Especially when you're trying to do it with someone who doesn't know how to swim either, how to love either. There's going to be a lot of struggle. And unfortunately, there are not many people teaching how to love properly. Anywhere. It's so hard to find a place to learn how to love. It's way easier to learn how to fly a plane than to find how to love. It is so weird to me. We need love so much in the earth. We need love so much in everything we do. Relationships, even when you just go to buy stuff in the store. Relationship with your neighbors, relationship with your children, relationship with your parents. All of this require real love, but no one is teaching how to love. We just assume you ought to know how to do it. But it's not working. So, what am I teaching today? I'm saying you need, and I need, to continue to learn how to love and grow in love. So we need a lot of people who are teaching about love, teaching how to love, teaching how to know that you're not loving properly, and also strengthening and encouraging others to keep going when they're doing the right thing, but they're not seeing the result yet. We need that. That's the first thing I wanted to share with you today. So love is like a seed. It takes time to grow.